Guy Dawson is the managing member of Classy Communications, a full-service media and marketing company. A seasoned businessman who started his first business at age 12, Guy started Classy Communications to help businesses and organizations improve their bottom lines by leveraging the power of mass media. His firm has worked with a diverse list of clients in real estate, publishing, construction, politics, radio and television broadcasting, network marketing, health and wellness, independent films, digital marketing, and a host of nonprofit organizations. Now, let's make some PR connections with your host, Guy Dawson.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to PR Connections, the business edition, your solution for business success. My name is Guy Dawson, and I am the managing member of Classy Communications, a media and marketing company. We strive to create massive growth in your business bottom line through mass media marketing. Classy Communications can bring greater recognition to your business or organization with public relations, marketing, publishing, broadcast opportunities, event planning, and more. For a free consultation, please call 702-845-6129 or visit classycommunications.net. PR Connections is a forum where business owners, entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and investors showcase what they do. We share cutting-edge business concepts in public relations, marketing, political activism, investing, and personal development. Our business education series features successful local, national, and international entrepreneurs. Tune in and learn business from the best. This segment of the PR Connections radio show is brought to you by DNR House of Diamonds. DNR House of Diamonds is making luxury affordable. They can save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on engagement rings and fashion jewelry. Call them at 702-758-3421 or visit dnrhouseofdiamonds.com. By the way, Dave and Rich, the owners of DNR House of Diamonds, will be back in the studio next week to talk about the luxurious products that they provide the community, and it's great to be back in the studio. The real estate mogul, Don Lehner, is here. Don, we haven't hung out in a while. You were traveling, and then I was away last week.
Right. Well, welcome back to you. We had a great show last week. I'm sure you listened in, and the travels that I had were great. We just came back from 2 weeks of business immersions in Martha's Vineyard with two separate groups, and we had a great time. We've got a couple that we're working on coming up too.
And you've got some classes in the pipeline. You're a busy guy doing real estate and helping people to be more successful with their businesses.
Yeah, definitely. The College of Southern Nevada has a business and personal enrichment program, so they are working with me on a business mastery series. I know you got a couple of classes that are in that too, which is great. And we're working on one coming up on, August 1st is the next one, which is a Career Essentials 1.0. In between that, though, we do have the Business Masters Toastmasters, which is tomorrow at my office, 6 o'clock till 7 o'clock. Anybody that wants to come, they can arrive early, and they can RSVP at 702-869-9999.
Business Masters Toastmasters is a group that we have been putting together over the last couple of months, and I'm a big supporter of Toastmasters International for people who are in business or sales professionals. I think that it is a critical tool to be effective as a communicator when you are in business. And when you join a Toastmaster group, you learn all the fundamentals of good communication. I think it helps you a lot with sales, team building, and the overall process of facilitating your business. How's it been for you so far, Don?
Well, what I've noticed is that there is a success that will breed more success mentality of everybody that's in it, meaning that for those business owners that are out there learning and struggling on their own, they don't realize that they're out there swimming upstream. But there's a lot of people out there, especially other business owners, no matter what the field, that are there, and they'll actually give you endorsements and support you. And I watch business networking going on even in a Toastmasters club. So that's a great thing. So for all those business owners, entrepreneurs, or those who are just visionaries wanting to know where I get a start, I highly recommend being there tomorrow, 6 o'clock, and that's going to be at 7475 West Sahara. That's Suite 100, and you can RSVP ahead of time by calling 702-869-9999.
And business education is a big part of the platform of the PR Connections radio show, getting you prepared to be more effective in business by doing things. I got a phone call from Crescent Hardy's office yesterday talking about the small business series that they've been doing down at North Las Vegas City Hall that we've been talking about on the show for quite a while. And that is continuing this week. It is from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. They have these courses where they talk about basics for success in business. It's also an outstanding networking opportunity, and I would encourage all of you to take advantage of free events like this. Crescent Hardy is a very business-friendly person that we have in Washington, D.C., and he's putting on these classes 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock and 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening. So if you can't make it early in the day, go down to North Las Vegas City Hall today. It's every Tuesday throughout the summer, and be a part of these classes. I just highly encourage you to take advantage of opportunities to get information for free in a opulent facility. We're going to take a short commercial break, and when we return, Sherman Ray, he is the owner of Avery's Coffee House, and also Mary Perry. She is a congressional candidate in District 1. They are both going to be coming on to talk about business and politics and the marriage that we're seeing of those two things right now in our current political climate. Stay tuned for more of PR Connections, the Business Edition. We are back in business with PR Connections at News Talk KDWN 720 AM and KDWN.com. And the phone lines are open at 702-257-5396. If you have any questions for the real estate mogul, Don Lehner, or Sherman Ray, or Congressional District 1 candidate, Mary Perry. Life Shots for your health, a drink that guarantees health and wellness. For without your health, what good is wealth? Call 702-493-7291 for a free 4-day supply. Also want to make an announcement about the largest mixer, which is a huge networking event here in Las Vegas, and it is going to be coming right around the corner. It is September I better hurry up and find it in my calendar, or you guys are all waiting for it. September the 14th at Texas Station. This event, I think, for anyone who is in business or aspiring to grow their business greater, is a must participation. You've got to be a part of this event. My company has been doing PR for it for the last 3 years. This will be our 4th year of working with Dave Linden on it. As a matter of fact, he's going to be in the studio in a couple of weeks to talk about this event. But I think there was over 2,000 people at this mixer last year. Dave Linden's done a great job of pulling all of this together and turning it into, I think, the Super Bowl of all networking events here in Las Vegas. And so I would encourage you to get in contact with me or go to the website. It's thelargestmixer.com to learn more details about being an attendee, or if you want to be a sponsor or a vendor there. Highly recommended networking event that we're going to be talking a lot about over the next couple of months. I have a man in the studio who I met at a Business Connections Network meeting. I guess it was probably about a year ago, huh, Sherman? Sherman, yeah.
Well, Guy, you probably don't even remember this. When I ran the Diversity Networking Group, that's when I first met you.
Really?
Yeah, we ran the Diversity Networking Group for about 5 years. Had about 100 business owners going through that. And before we transitioned into running Avery's Coffee, but that's where I first met you. I said, "Who is this guy?" Because you had your show that you were running at the time, and that was probably 5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah,
see how many networking events I've been to since then?
Yeah,
I can't.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have you as a part of the show. Sherman put on a talk at BCN that I was so impressed by. I mean, and I hear a lot of people talking about business and success, but I had to get together with him after that meeting to let him know how much I appreciated the fundamentals that he shared. It wasn't even so much about business, was it, Sherman?
No.
You were just talking about how to live a fulfilling life more than anything else. And business was just another platform for doing that.
Sure. And it's funny. I had the privilege of meeting a lot of business owners throughout the 5 years that we had Diversity Networking Group. And one of the biggest things that I saw as an obstacle to most business owners was their mental attitude. I mean, they really just didn't believe that they could be what they were going to be. I think one of the questions, and now you remind me of this, the Business Connectors thing, was that one of the questions I was asking everybody, I said, hey, how many of you actually are the founders of your company? Not just working for somebody, but you were actually the founders of your company, or that you produced the product that you had. And I think there was only, out of the 45, 50 people that were in that meeting, I think there were only 2 or 3 people who actually had been the founders of their company. And I told everybody else, I said, well, then you guys need to begin to become the founders, the people who are in charge of your business. Because if you're not, then you're working for somebody else. It's basically what it is. And I think I challenged somebody else in there who was a realtor. I said, how many of you realtors are brokers? And I think her name's Lene. Do you remember? She was actually, she timidly raised her hand.
She was becoming a broker at that time. Now she's a full-fledged broker.
And I was like almost coming out of my skin thinking, you know what? You got it. You finally got it, that you shouldn't be working for somebody, that you should be the broker. There's nothing to stop a realtor from being a broker other than time and desire, in my estimation.
I mean, there were a lot of fundamental things that you talked about that I think can help a person when you did that talk that day. And one of the things that you stressed was finding ways to challenge yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You were talking about taking on a physical goal or something that is going to stretch you, and how vital that is to your success in business.
Yeah, and that's and if you read any success books, John Maxwell books, and Tony Robbins or any of those guys, they'll all say the same thing, that as a let me tell you a real quick story. There was a guy who was a triathlete, and he found a guy who was a Green Beret or a Navy SEAL, and he said, I wanted to try to bring this guy home with me so he could help him achieve a higher goal, go to the next level. So they were on a radio show or a TV show, and they said, well, did you learn anything from this guy? And the triathlete said, yeah. He said, I went from 200 push-ups a day to 1,000 push-ups a day. And he also went from running, like, let's say, a 5-minute mile down to a 4-minute mile. I mean, it was just that profound of a difference. That was in 1 month. So it wasn't a year. It was in a 1-month goal. So the Navy SEAL, they asked him, they said, well, what is your take on Americans? He said, Americans are basically Americans are lazy. We've gotten to a point where we're so comfortable where we're at that we won't challenge ourselves. He says, you need to do something, and this is something that was a takeaway for me in the whole thing. Every day, do something that sucks.
Right. I really enjoyed when you said that.
Yeah. Every day, do something that sucks, because you need to stretch yourselves. We are able to do a lot more than we would ever imagine, just like the 4-minute mile. I mean, as soon as somebody found out that you could actually break that 4-minute barrier within like a month or something like that, 2 months, that new record was broken. And it's just because it's a mindset that people have that they can't do more than they want to do. So yeah, you need to challenge yourself, do something physical, do something mental, spiritual, whatever you want to do. Yeah.
And you developed quite a networking group with diversity. It grew from basically nothing, right? I mean, I remember hearing about it many years ago, maybe 6 years ago or 5 years ago, and then it really kind of took on a life of its own and had a lot of impact on the business community. Sure.
There's a lot of groups that are here in Las Vegas right now that were formed out of diversity networking group. We were not a, meet every week, pass your business cards. We were a teaching group. I was never formally taught in business. And so the whole thing was, let's teach each other. Let's learn from each other. Let's bring in great speakers. So some of our first speakers were Ricky Barlow, and we had some sitting. I know Mary's over here. I've got Mary Perry next to me here. But one of the first speakers we had was Ricky Barlow. But those are the kind of speakers we brought in. We brought in speakers, and it was more to challenge our business owners, because I told the guys, I said, one of you guys is going to run for office at some point. And they did. Within a year, we had somebody who was running for office. They didn't succeed, but they took the challenge up and they moved forward.
And now you are running a coffee house and coffee shops and houses and roasting businesses. When I was doing some research, I saw that roasting is one of the labels for, it's a part of the genre now.
Sure. It's called a third generation or the third wave coffee. We are one of the few coffee roasters in town. We also blog about coffee. Our blog is called Coffee Culture Magazine. And so we blog about all things coffee. We're followed by some of the largest entities in the world. Nestle's corporation follows us. You would think out of our little small shop here in Las Vegas that we would have such large companies following us. But yeah, coffee is huge, and we love what we do.
Yeah, I got to take a short commercial break, Sherman, and when we come back, I'm going to bring Mary into the discussion. She is a candidate for Congress in District 1. We are going to be talking about business as it relates to politics. We're going to also have the real estate mogul Don Lehner chime in, and so you'll want to stay tuned to be a part of this week's edition of PR Connections, the business edition with Guy Dawson. We are talking business on PR Connections at News Talk, KDWN 720 AM and KDWN.com. And the phone lines are still open at 702-257-5396. We'd love to hear from any of you out there. If you'd like to talk to Sherman Ray about business or politics, also congressional candidate Mary Perry, and we have the real estate mogul Don Lehner in the studio as well. The Business Connections of Nevada Networking Group builds relationships with business owners with the purpose of networking, sharing inspiration, motivation, and referral leads among its members. To learn more about its weekly connection meetings, visit businessconnectionsnv.com or call 702-839-8586. And as I do on most broadcasts, I want to reach out to you, all of you out there who are entrepreneurial or in business, and invite you to become a partner of the PR Connections radio show. I think we have a tremendously impactful platform here that allows you to get the word out about your business. And in the years that I've been in marketing and PR, one of the biggest reasons that I've seen for failure in business is that people don't ever know that you are in business because you don't market it effectively, you don't create an interest in it. And a platform like this, I think, works very well for people who are in business. We are broadcast worldwide through internet streaming, and we are also broadcast at 7:20 a.m. in 5 states. So take advantage of opportunities to get the word out about your business, and I would love to talk to you about being a partner with the PR Connections radio show. You can get in contact with me at 702-845-6129 or visit our website, classycommunications.net. And Don, you've been hanging around for the show for a while. Pretty good platform, huh, to help people get the word out about their business.
Yeah, as I said before, there's definitely a what is in it for the business owner that you don't typically see. Most of the time people have their hand out wanting to get money out of you, but this is where we want to show business owners how they could put more money in their pocket, have their businesses work for them so they're not working so hard for their businesses. And even, you left one person out, that visionary, that one who has got an idea, they've got a gift, and they're just not sure how to turn it into a monetization. That's something that we definitely would be able to help out, not only on this show, but with the mastermind programs that we have, the business immersion programs that we have, even what we're doing with College of Southern Nevada. There's going to be a shift in this country, and it's going to start with the small business owner.
And Sherman Ray has been speaking about his business, which is Avery's Coffee House, as well as the networking that he's been involved in for quite a few years. And not only are you doing those things, Sherman, but you are also the Nevada Republican Black Caucus founder.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for mentioning that, Guy. I was on the Ben Carson for President committee, and even as I was a precinct captain for him. And I mean, really a small role, but one thing that struck me is when I was standing out waiting to vote and urging people on, encouraging them, is people kept saying the same thing. They said, Ben Carson is not going to win. He's not going to win. He's a great guy, but he's never going to win. And I really felt like God was speaking to me, and he said something very profound. He said, Ben Carson is serving a purpose, and the purpose is to get minorities into the political process. And that really started my whole journey with starting the Nevada Republican Black Caucus. We really want to help represent conservative African Americans within the GOP, and so if you want to get a hold of us, we'd really appreciate it. We're at NVGOP Black Caucus at gmail.com, or you can just find us online at NevadaRepublicanBlackCaucus.com.
And speaking of the GOP, we have a political candidate, political royalty in the studio. Mary Perry is back.
Good morning, Guy. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful, and congratulations on your big win. You haven't been on the show since you won your primary.
I have not. This is the first time back since the primary, and I just want to thank everybody out there who did vote for me. I could not have done it without you.
And Mary, you scratched and clawed your way into this next phase of the electoral process. What was it like? What was the journey like actually getting through a primary?
It was rough. I had 6 opponents in the primary. They were all great opponents. And on election night, when the numbers first come out and I was 18 votes behind, I'm like, uh-oh. I wasn't liking it because usually those early numbers is indicative on how the evening is going to end. So when those last couple of precincts come in and it put me up to 27 votes ahead, I'm like, okay, just let me hang on to this. And I fortunately hung on to it. So I'm pleased and exhausted and ready to move forward and get out there now and show the other side of the people on that I am a good fit for them also.
My firm is working with Mary on her political run for Congress, and I went to bed, Mary, and the two of you were neck and neck, but I felt really good about you winning that. I mean, I just felt that we worked hard, we prepared, and that you are someone who truly is looking out for the interests of the people of Nevada.
I do, and I'm not liking what I see in this district. We have too many empty strip malls. And when I see coffee shops like Avery's pop up, and Sherman does a great job. I was lucky enough to meet him last week, and I went in to his shop on Friday. And oh my gosh, if you want a touch of heaven, walk into that coffee shop. The smells will wake you up. There's just, there's nothing better than the smell of coffee. For some people, maybe the taste of coffee, but that smell is what really wakes you up.
Yeah, it's a great environment, and Mary is a very business-friendly politician or political candidate, and that was one of the things that she and I bonded on when we first met was her belief in entrepreneurship as being the foundation of economic empowerment.
One of my largest platforms is small business. One of the biggest disasters, I believe, that this country has seen is the huge conglomerates of businesses where only a few people are sitting up there raking in all the money, and the little people, the little worker bees, don't get to earn. They get nothing. They get $10 an hour. They get $8 an hour, whatever minimum wage is, and then it goes up from there. When y'all were talking about how many is a realtor and how many of you are a broker and everything, it reminds me of being a lawyer. When you graduate law school, you work for somebody else, and they start billing you out at $125, $200 an hour.
Mary, will you hold that thought really quickly? We're going to take another commercial break, and when we come back, I want you to talk about your platform as it concerns businesses, and we're also going to bring the other two gentlemen in to talk about the marriage of politics and business. We're going to take a short commercial break and be back with more of PR Connections at KDWN 720 AM. You are listening to PR Connections, the business edition at News Talk KDWN 720 AM and KDWN.com. The phone lines are still open at 702-257-5396 if you have any questions for congressional candidate Mary Perry. Classy Communications is partnering with Constant Contact, the solution for business email and social media marketing. We can help you be a better marketer and keep you connected with the contacts in your database. Call us at 702-845-6129 for a consultation. And Mary, I'm sure that the listeners out there are wondering, how are things going to be different if you're elected as a congresswoman if you're in business?
Well, one of the big things that's going to be different with me is I plan on pushing small businesses back into the forefront of what we need. This country was built on small businesses, so let's put people into small businesses so that they can become their own boss. In doing so, we're increasing the tax base, which means we can lower everybody's taxes at the same time. So people are going to be able to put more money into their pockets. The empty strip malls will be filled up. People will be able to go to places. Minorities will hopefully be able to start their own businesses, because that's where I want to really concentrate on, is with the Minority Business Development Agency. I want to see them get funding that other people get so that they are finally on a level playing field. I don't like seeing West Las Vegas and other depressed areas that doesn't have businesses in their own neighborhoods. Let's change that. Let's get them the funding that they need, and then everybody can pay their own fair share for once, and we can get this country out of the problems that we have, get us out of debt, and get back on the right track of what this country was meant to be.
And the alternative is the existing congresswoman who hasn't been all that business friendly.
She's only been business friendly to the big conglomerates. She has not done anything to help the little people out other than to keep them further depressed. For some reason, the Democrats believe that if we keep giving them enough free stuff, then they're going to continue voting for us. But there comes a point in time to where you're not getting enough to take that vacation at the last minute. Hey, I'd like to go to San Diego to the beach. You can't do that if you're on welfare and given all of this free stuff, because you're only given just barely enough to survive. I want to give you enough to live, and so that you know what life is really about.
And Mary is in the middle of a huge political campaign. My company is really grateful to be partnering with her and working towards getting her elected. And if people want to support your platform, which I think is critical for business, how can they donate to you? How can they be a part of this?
Well, they can either mail me a check and make it out to Friends of Mary Perry and mail it to 840 South Rancho Drive, Suite 4256, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89106, or go to my webpage, which is Mary Perry for Congress, and I have a donate button on every page. Any amount will help. Even pocket change will help.
And Sherman, as being a part of Nevada's Republican Black Caucus, I guess you are engaged in this political process right now.
Sure.
What does a person being elected or not being elected into a critical position like Mary is running for, what's the effect on small business when that happens or does not happen?
Yeah, and we were talking during the break about the whole business climate and how it's important you have somebody in office who's business friendly. African Americans, I think we've got 1,000 businesses in all of Nevada who are African American businesses, and if you don't have somebody who is business friendly, it can be detrimental. I mean, it could be devastating. And Mary, you can probably speak to this. The amount of loans that are given out to that black businesses are actually qualified for and can get is impacted tremendously by who is in office and the climate. Yeah.
Well, since Bill Clinton left office, the Minority Business Development Agency has only had $25 million a year nationwide. That's not a lot of money,
no.
Especially when we're wasting more than $30 billion a year on stuff that we don't need and that the private sector should be paying for.
Yeah, and we need that money. And like Mary was talking about, and we were talking about in the break, if in her district, especially if you look at Bonanza, that whole area, Bonanza and G Street and all those areas, that area has been blighted by inattention. It's been blighted by, I hate to say a conspiracy theory, but there is a reason why that area, especially MLK, where you got a strip mall of businesses, that there's a Bank of America right next to it, and they are not getting loans from that bank.
Yeah. And Don, you and I have had a lot of discussions about the inability that a lot of business owners have to really function at their highest potential because there are so many regulations and restrictions on operating a business.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really glad that we have Mary here today, because Mary, can you speak to some of the things that, when you're holding your role, that the business owners can count on?
One of the big things that I want to do, and of course I've got 435 other members of Congress, 434 other members of Congress that I have to work with. I want to get rid of a lot of the red tape, a lot of the licensing requirements. Why don't we take a lot of these statutes and just cut it down from 1,000 pages to 10 pages? Let's make it easier for the people. Our government is supposed to be by the people, for the people, so on and so forth. Let's make it easy on the people to actually be successful now.
Yeah, put yourself in a position to be successful. And one of the ways that you do that is you have to let small businesses do what they do. And when you're running one, as all four of us here are, I mean, you understand the day-to-day grind of doing that. You need all the support that you can get. And we need that in Congress. We need that from the White House in order to be able to continue to create jobs for people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running for federal office, but with me being an attorney here in town, owning my own business, why do I need a business license from the city, from the county, and from the state? Why can't I not just have one business license, pay one entity fee, and keep the money in my pockets? And it's because we are given so much money for BS. We don't need to spend a lot of money on things that's not necessary, because those things that we're spending money on by the government will be taken care of by the private sector if the government would get out of it and vacate that arena.
Mm-hmm. And Sherman, you've got a coffee house that has tremendous aroma, as Mary said. How can people stop by and visit you and support your small business?
Sure. Avery's Coffee is located at 9440 West Sahara, Suite 145 in Las Vegas, Nevada, 89117. Come on by. We're one of the few coffee roasters in town. You can sample some of our new Nitro Brew. We've got cold brew coffee in the long neck bottle that I've got here in front of me, or you can just take it home with you, because we're, like you said, one of the few coffee roasters in town, and come by and grab a bag and take it home with you.
I know I've been seeing these bottles on social media that Sherman has, and I thought, man, the guy got himself a liquor license to go along with it.
No, that's
selling coffee. You're doing it big over there, Sherman.
Sure. No, that's one of the bottling things we've got now. So we bottle our own cold brew coffee. So come on by, stop by and have some.
And Don, in real estate and all the other projects that you're working on, how can our listeners get in contact with you?
All right. So for everything real estate, and we're talking from the little guy that's looking to make their first purchase, or the investor that's more on the savvy investing scale, we have everything for you. Also portfolio management under my brokerage, as well as my business brokerage. So you can reach me by calling 702-869-9999 and looking at some of the residential inventory on platinumelite.com.
And we have had quite a dialogue on this show today in terms of business and the importance of being aware. I think that's what this show was all about, is that we are involved in a political season where there's a lot of rhetoric, opinions that are floating all around, and that to be an educated voter, you have to be open to a lot of different ideas. And us as business owners, I believe in us supporting people who support us. And because we are the backbone of the economy of the United States. And again, thank all three of you for being a part of the show today.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing all of you next week. I hope that all your business deals are good ones. Take care of yourselves, and see you next week.